Bienvenidos, welcome to We Rise, Mujeres de Maiz. We're here honoring the 4 directions for health, 4 direcciones para la salud, honoring the north. And before we start, we're going to start with the land acknowledgement by Tina and Jessa Calderon.
Our relatives, past, present, and emerging. Meiha Nahinka, Netwania Netina Calderon, Pomikra Betnaha Tumbe, Hoi Mufkanakan, Hoi Yuena, Awish Poneha, Ekwe Ava Mane, the Hodasamet. My name is Tina Calderon. I'm Gabrielino Tonga, Ventureño Chumash, and Yoeme, and I'm happy to be here with you all today, my relatives.
Meiha Wenahinka, Netwania Ne Jessa Calderon. I am Tina's daughter, and I too am happy to be here with you all.
So today we would like to thank Mujeres de Maiz for asking us to open up the We Rise art pop-up event in a good way. And we'll start by acknowledging our relatives, past, present, and emerging, the original Tarahatam people of Tawanga, today known as Los Angeles County, parts of Orange County, parts of San Bernardino County, as well as the 4 southern Channel Islands. And we acknowledge our ancestors for living in loving reciprocity with the waters, the lands, the minerals, the plant and animal relatives for millennia across our unceded territory. Yarar komokre henuk vetam.
We remember the ancestors.
Awesh ponreha ahihiram koi hinayana.
We thank our teachers, past and present.
Kanukanakre eyotarham.
And we honor the children of the next 7 generations.
And we'd like to also remind everybody to please walk gently upon our Earth Mother and give her the love that she deserves. And we'll close with an ancestor song. Way-ah, hey-ah, way-ah, hey-ah, way-ah, hey-ah, hey-oh. Way-ah, hey-ah, way-ah, hey-ah, way-ah, hey-ah, hey-oh. Yarar como crehanuk vetam tu me komiketame paime. Yarar como crehanuk vetam tu me komiketame paime. Way-ah, hey-ah, way-ah, hey-ah, way-ah, hey-ah, hey-oh. Way-ah, hey-ah, way-ah, hey-ah, way-ah, hey-ah, hey-oh. Yara como crehanuk vetam tu me komiketaime paime. Yara como crehanuk vetam tu me komiketaime paime. Way-ah, hey-ah, way-ah, hey-ah, way-ah, hey-ah, hey-oh. Way-ah, hey-ah, way-ah, hey-ah, way-ah, hey-ah, hey-oh. Yarak como crehanuk vetam tu me komiketaime paime. Yarak como crehanuk vetam tu me Way ah hey ah, way ah hey ah, way ah hey ah hey. Yara como tres petam tu me como mi que taime paime. Yara como tres petam tu me como mi que taime paime.
Welcome again to We Rise, Mujeres de Maiz, honoring the North for health. Honrando las 4 direcciones para la salud del norte. Gracias y bienvenidos a We Rise, Mujeres de Maiz. Es un evento comunitario que está patrocinado por el Departamento de Los Ángeles de Salud Mental. Welcome to We Rise again. And this event is sponsored by Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health. With that, we also want to give thanks to Mercadito Monarca. We're here at Mercadito Monarca in Pasadena, California. So we want to give thanks to our host here today. And we also want to thank you for tuning in today with us. Queremos dar las gracias para todos ustedes que están sintonizados en el mundo de los medios sociales. Gracias por convivir con nosotros hoy. Por favor, díganos de qué parte están escuchando. Let us know where you're listening from. What land are you on at this time? Also acknowledge the land that you're on. So we give thanks for that. So before we move further, now we're going to continue with our programming, giving thanks to the ancestors. And I'm going to introduce to an elder here from the northern part of area of Pasadena. His name is Jose Castro.
Qualitunali. Good day. My name is Jose Castro. I am a descendant of the Apache and Purepecha Nation and a third-generation resident of the city of Pasadena, but more importantly, a proud guest in this, the unceded ancestral homeland of the Tongva people. I bring greetings and blessings from Chief Redblood of the Tongva Nation. He was planning on attending today, but due to the recent crossing over of several of the Tongva elders, he has had to assume additional responsibilities that prevented him from being with us here today. In his absence, Chief Redblood has asked me to offer the opening prayer and also a land acknowledgement on behalf of the Tongva people. But before we proceed any further, as indigenous people, we always acknowledge the generosity of the Creator first and foremost. So we begin by giving thanks to the Creator for having found us worthy to receive another day by the rising of the sun, Tonatiuh. We also express our gratitude to the Creator for having kept us safe in the past and request that He continue to protect us into the future. Lastly, we say, Klasukamati, thank you to the Creator for generously providing us all that we need and much that we desire. Also, in keeping with the ways of our ancestors and elders, we say, Klasukamati to the Tongva people for giving us permission to hold this event on their ancestral homeland. For an opening prayer, we offer a blessing to all those responsible for We Rise, for making this event possible. To Mujeres de Maiz, or as we say in Nahuatl, Sintli Tosiwan, for bringing this issue of mental health to light. We offer a special prayer for all those impacted by mental health issues. We pray that all those facing these challenges, whether they be on a mental, physical, emotional, or spiritual level, because all affect our mental health and well-being. We pray that those directly impacted by this issue and their circle of supporters, be they family, friends, or whoever, find healing and good health in the very near future. And lastly, a land acknowledgement for the very land that we are on here today. We, the participants of We Rise Mujeres de Maiz event, do hereby acknowledge that we are on the unceded homeland of the Tongva people, who are the original inhabitants of Los Angeles and Orange counties. As the indigenous stewards of this land, and in accordance with their traditions, the Tongva Nation have never ceded, lost, nor forgotten their responsibility as caretakers to Tonantzin-Tlali, our venerable Mother Earth. As guests, we recognize that we benefit from living and working on their traditional homelands. We wish to pay respects by acknowledging the Tongva ancestors, elders, and relatives for 7 generations to come by affirming their sovereign right as first people of this nation. In closing, I know I speak for Chief Red Blood and the Tongva people as I raise my hands to honor all those that put on this event and participate in this event. When I say, welcome to our land, welcome to our home, but most importantly, welcome to our heart. Tlasukamati, Aho, y Teteo Chihualitzli. Blessings.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Jose. Thank you, and thank you for the message. Beautiful. Thank you, everyone who's out there today. That's very grounding, huh? It feels good. We have some smells going. We have the staff community here with us because it's really not an open event, because we're doing the precautions of COVID. So that's why we're live streaming. So before we move on, again, this is our pitch. It's not our pitch, but it's actually what we're doing. We're proud to be doing this today. And we're happy to be that vehicle and that vessel to be able to give this platform to a lot of people that normally are not heard. Like Jose Castro, like the Native Indigenous people, we're in the back burner of sometimes of being put in platforms or being funded to be able to do these kinds of programming that are culturally relevant to us, that also helps with the healing of ancestral and historical trauma, because that's where we start, right? We have to go way, way back in order for us to go way, way forward and be present. So with that, I want to also acknowledge the creatress of this beautiful background. You see this beautiful background mural. Let me move this a little bit, just a little bit, so you can see a little bit right here. But you'll be able to get a tour in a little while. We're not going to move the staff yet. We want to honor it for a little bit. But later on, at the end of our programming, you're going to be able to immerse yourself inside this space that our artists, our guest residency artist that made it for us. Her name is Alfie Numeric, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what was her process, what was she feeling, what did she do, what did she gain from it, and what does she want you to take from it. Welcome, Alfie. Oops, sorry.
I'm a little sore. Thank you. Should I take off?
Yeah, take care.
So my name is Alfie Ebojo. I'm also known as Alfie Numeric. I am very happy and blessed to be here and be part of this show. I've always wanted to be part of We Rise LA ever since I've seen the show like 2 years ago. And then when Mujeres de Maiz, coincidentally, they were actually the first group that put me on the stage as a spoken word artist. So it's kind of cool that they continue to work with me when I stopped doing spoken word and I started doing more visual arts. So this piece that I've done, I don't normally paint big. So I remember when I was asked to do this piece, there was like that quick thing of, no, I can't do it. And I said, no, I'm going to say yes. This is the year of yes. I don't know if how you were affected by 2020. I thought I was doing well. I found out that it was just 1 month after a month of grieving. We lost so many people. So many of my family members has lost their their parents through COVID, through heart disease. And the sadness of it all is that we couldn't gather and we couldn't be together. We did funerals through Zoom. So it affected me in a sense that I started becoming more of an introvert and more of that introvertness turned into a hermit. But then if you notice the things that were happening in 2020 with the social justice movement, you feel stuck because here you want to be in solidarity with Black Lives Matters and fight police brutality, but you're stuck at home and you're trying to keep everybody safe. That was another thing to grieve about. And then with the xenophobia caused by the coronavirus and the COVID-19 pandemic, my elders are being targeted for hate crime. So it's just like one layer after the other. So when I was entering this piece, it wasn't anything planned. I wasn't trying to educate anybody. This all is just basically medicine for me because I didn't paint I did one painting for our sister Soraya Medina in tribute to her life. That was one painting that I did in 2020. This actually got me out of a funk. I didn't know what it was called until someone told me, Alfie, you're grieving. So once I realized that I was grieving, I knew how to heal. I knew what I needed to do. And this unleashed so much out of me. So the idea of this, again, this is a personal view of being a target. Your family members are being a target of hate crimes. So here you are with Stop Asian Hate, but then I'm a brown Asian. So in essence, we have problems with colorism in our own community where I wasn't even considered Asian. All that issues have to be put aside because we have to stand in solidarity with Asian brothers and sisters, but also everybody, who is a victim of patriarchy and imperialism and white supremacy. So this is my piece. She's an ambiguous brown Asian woman. Originally, the photo was her just holding the flowers in front of her face, kind of like the mask. So all you see was her eyes. But I had such a strong aversion of not wanting to cover her face because we were taught to be quiet. We were taught not to complain. We were taught to just roll with the punches. And we don't have that. We're also not heard when we do say something. So I left her face open because I want her to be seen. I want her full face to be seen. But Purple Flowers is about spreading love. I had my nieces help me with this, and I had such I have a problem with asking for help. I'm always like, I got this. I don't need help. But then my sisters were just kind of like, no, have our children helped you, and they helped me paint a lot of the blocks of this mural, which helped me tremendously because then I get to focus on other things. They're mixed. They're Black and they're Asian. So we actually use this as a discussion piece as to what it means to be a Black woman in America, but then you're also mixed with Asian, and then you're seeing, you know, elders being targeted. So to me, it was very special because this was a working exercise. This was working medicine. This is what I present to you. The blue birds, they are bleeding heart doves. They're found in the Philippines. They're basically blue birds with a white chest, but it looks like someone pricked their chest, so a little thing of blood spots open. So I love that as a symbolism of love. So you'll often see them in my paintings, but you'll see them with a locket, like a gold locket, holding onto the heart, just for protection and to show value. So thank you so much for having me be part of this event. Again, my name is Alfie Numeric. I'm also known as Alfie Ebojo, and I'm very, very happy to be here. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thank you so much, Alfie. It's been beautiful to see the community circles and organizing that have happened over the years. I'm Fe with Mujeres de Maiz, and 24 years ago we were just different women finding ourselves and finding our communities, and how we could support our communities and also learn about ourselves, our identity, and our families. So what I wanted to do, many of us, what we wanted to do was find how we could share. And one of the ways that we did that was starting to share our words and our experiences, both happy and also sometimes sad and not so happy, right? And we did that through the word. In La Quech is the founding group of Mujeres de Maiz 24 years ago, and we just started sharing poetry and spoken word. And beginning to do that. After we did that, Mujeres de Maiz was that space to create. And we asked more and more people to be involved, and we just did a call out, through pagers back in the day, and through flyers, and now through social media and through emails and through just connecting one-on-one and in person. And over the years, we've had hundreds of women of color specifically, also queer and trans community, share their expressions, share their creativity, and in that way being well and walking in beauty in their own way, in that traditional way of understanding how to be well by expressing ourselves. And so we're really honored to be here with the compañeras and compañeras de la familia de Mercadito, Monarca. We did put the in the different live, so do check it out because this is another example of expression and creativity, and it was really beautiful also to have Alfie, Ebojo, and also Balagtasan Collective back in the day, and a lot of the Filipino revolutionary sisters be a part of Mujeres de Maiz and build on that intercontinental solidarity. So we're really happy to be here today, and I wanted to actually invite up one of our performers and also the wellbeing writing workshop facilitator, Iris de Anda, to share a piece. She'll be sharing throughout the rest of the live stream and throughout the rest of the day, poetry and spoken word, and also her connection to well-being and mental health as a family member, as a community member, as an organizer. So please help me welcome Iris de Anda.
Oh, yay!
Thank you, Mujeres de Maiz, for the invitation. Thank you to We Rise LA. Very important work. Excuse me. My throat chakra is already closing up. Here we go. Very important work that's being done at this moment around mental health, especially after, as our sister Alfie said, being indoors for so long and not being able to connect the way that we've normally done before. This poem was written during quarantine, Saturday, March quarantine 2020. I wake up with anxiety. Mid-dream, they tell me a secret. The dark carries so much light I can see inside of skeletons. The closets are open wide. People are screaming silently, piercing the air of our sanctuary. It's getting loud out here. The world is colliding with egos. Tu amor no es suficiente. Ahora puedo ver más allá de este azul. Echoes of skin once touching, lifting the bandages from an open wound. Look at the crimson pain, painted over scars, scared is what they want. Submissive bodies waiting for how long? Some of us don't know how to follow orders, holding spirit at the tip of our tongue. Alone with the candlelight, chant to somewhere near because it's feeling far. Tell me where to go from here. Screenshot the last person you remember near. We will make it through this, my dear. Ancient echoes knock on walls. In this house, we are daydreaming our body temple whole. En tu casa todo cambió. Everyone spread their loneliness across the screen. When they come and tell you what to do, you run into the woods, into the supermarket. Remember, you forgot the lemons while singing in the aisles of warm lullabies and soap. Clean the government cabinets with vinegar mixed with half-truths. Illusion tube is on the rise, feeding fear into the veins of the future, and you're buying in. Sinking in the abyss of this dark comedy that has become your life, stuck in a bedroom with windows that lead to horizons far beyond Italy and China. When it gets dark, the stars are lonely too. When it gets dark, the stars are lonely too. Quarantine the ants and they show up in mass droves in parking lots. Stay put, darling. It's for your own good. Stay in, my love. It'll save the bees. Stay with me but far away. It will make sense sometime soon or never. However, just stay grounded in Pachamama's womb.
Thank you. Thank you, Miss Edith de Anda, amazing poet, writer, culturalist, activista, an overall good human being. And thank you again, and welcome everyone out in cyberspace, social media, wherever you may be. And welcome everyone who's here, which is pretty much the staff, the artist, and our lovely host, Erika, and her husband, Roberto. Her Erica and her husband Roberto here at Mercadito Monarca and Pasadena, South Pasadena. Is it Pasadena? Pasadena, my bad. Pasadena. We moving on up, Chicanos here in Pasadena. Come and support Mercadito Monarca in Pasadena. Look her up, check it out on a little stream, on our comments, and you'll find out who they are. So and everyone else who's here. Now, the other part we also want to talk about is also resources, and also coming from a professional. We're going to leave the platform to her. En español, really quick for those that are speaking Spanish. Gracias por sintonizarse con nosotros. Ahora queremos darle las gracias otra vez a Erika y Roberto que están aquí en Mercadito Monarca, que nos están patrocinando este día aquí con el espacio. Si gustan encontrar información de su tienda aquí en nuestras redes, vamos a ponerlo en los chats. Y ahora para seguir más adelante vamos a hablar sobre un tema que es muy importante y por eso estamos aquí, de la salud mental. Una experta, voy a introducir una experta en esos recursos y nos va a platicar un poquito más qué podemos hacer y dónde podemos encontrar esos recursos. So here she is. Oh, sorry. So here she is, my good friend, Celina Jaques. I go blank sometimes because I'm looking at 3 different cameras.
We're on the camera.
I'm looking at 3 different cameras. I don't know where to do.
All right. Well, I'm a little short for that. Okay. Is it okay? Hola. Hi. Soy Celina Jaques. Somebody asked me the other day how to spell my name. And so every time I speak, I'm saying like a little something different, sort of to like spread the love and share more information, but also to learn from the last time. So, me llamo Celina Jaques. I pronounce that in Spanish, but it's actually a French name, Jacques, like Jacques Cousteau, if you're old enough to remember who that is. And there's a long story about that. one time in the 1800s, there were French people in Mexico, and somehow I ended up here with a French last name that I pronounce in Spanish. That's Jacqueus. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and a board certified art therapist. My family has been from Texas and Chihuahua for generations. So I identify as a Chicana indígena. ¿Qué más les digo? Pues ya me oyeron, ¿verdad? Soy de Texas y Chihuahua. Me llamo Celina. Soy una terapeuta de matrimonio y familia y también, un poquito más recio, así. Ok. Y también soy arte terapeuta, que quiere decir que yo uso la psicología con el arte a sanar la alma y el corazón y la mente también. So what art therapy basically means is that I blend psychology and art, creativity to heal the heart, soul, and mind. I can tell you a little bit more about myself quickly. I've been working in the mental health field for about 20 years. I've worked in inpatient psychiatric hospital, resident treatment centers, and in outpatient therapy. I now have a private office. Oh, which reminds me, I keep forgetting to tell everyone. So I'm going to tell you this real fast, and I'm going to move on to sharing a little bit more. Thank you, Alfie, for this beautiful, beautiful container space here. It's amazing, and thank you so much to Jose for the blessing and for the opening. That was really beautiful. One thing, thinking about the pandemic and how that affected all of us differently, one way that it affected me is that there was a lot of work. And it was really overwhelming, and I wanted to help more and more people, and I recognized that I couldn't help as much as I wanted to. And one thing that's really important to me is to remain accessible to the community and to be able to provide mental health services to people who need them, but maybe can't find them or afford them in the ways that are more traditional. So one offering that I have that I can talk about, but I really want to tell you about this, is call it a community care offering, and it's a Patreon page that's $5 to $25, and basically every week I write something about what I'm seeing come up in the collective unconscious, like that grief that we've been working through, especially during COVID. It was really like cut and dry. Week one, we're all in shock. Week two, we're all grieving. Week three, we all don't know what we're gonna do next. Week four, like we're in depression, and so I just write about those things and give you some tips and some different resources, things that you can do to help work through those things. Obviously, I'm not sharing personal stories because I'm a professional secret keeper. Everything that anyone talks to me about is locked in the vault forever. So I just want to share that. That's just my community offering. It's a way to make mental health possible and also to create community around mental health, and that's why I really
curandera. I'm not a curandera. I'm learning. It takes many years to learn all the skills. But the more that I learn, the more that I realize we are just reclaiming knowledge that has been there for thousands and thousands of years, for generations. Gracias. The elder taking care of me. Thank you. Thank you so much. So this knowledge has always been with us, and we've always been healers, and we've always taken care of our own mental health, except for it got, commodified and repackaged and then sold back to us. And that's okay. We're just going to reclaim it. So I want to share a little bit today about, very quickly, I think we're having okay, just keep going. So I want to share a little bit today about what I think of when I think of art as ritual. Art becomes prayer, and it becomes meditation. And so these are things that if you look, all the information is already there. Sometimes when we're learning about things like prayer, meditation, and ritual, it feels like we want the Western version of that. Like, can you tell me the steps? Like, can you tell me what to say? Can you give me the protocol? And there is protocol, that's real. But the truth is that we already know that in our heart. And if you've ever done anything creative, you know that feeling of getting into the flow of something, right? Even if you don't think you're creative, you've been in a flow state before, right? You're like in your groove, right? At work or writing or drawing or doodling or gardening, whatever it is that you're doing. And that flow state is something that happens to an artist when they're creating. And it can happen to anybody. It doesn't have to do with creating masterpieces. It has to do with getting into your heart and soul, being in your body with yourself and the emotions, memories, and feelings that come up when you get quiet. So that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about today. In the last couple of pop-ups, I've shared a little bit more about sort of like the science, how memory is stored, and how we don't, this is kind of like the Western side. I'm trying to get better at naming what I'm talking about. So this is Western psychology, some neuroscience about how our memory is stored and how we have different types of memory. Some of it is very linguistic and like fact-based, and a lot of it is not at all. It sort of gets stored in a little package of experience, and it's timeless. So when it resurfaces, it's like it's happening all over again. And art can help us in those moments of capturing emotions and experiences and being able to express them in a way that somebody else can understand them. Like, I was moved so much by just thinking about that poetry and being in this beautiful space. So that's what happens, and that's how it works, is that we get to tap into things that are harder to tap into when we're talking about it in a more traditional, like, talk therapy. And it's not as pathologizing. This is something that came up in, was that yesterday? In yesterday's pop-up about answering some questions about how to access mental health. And one of the questions was like, how do I know when to be real about myself? What are some questions that I can ask to find mental health support that actually fits what I'm looking for? And so the answer for that was basically like you start right up front and you say what it is that you need and you ask for it. And sometimes we don't know what we need. And so we just have to be open with who we are. And even though definitely not all mental health professionals are perfect fit for everyone, what we are trained to do is to look for that and recognize like, oh, okay, this is something that isn't my jam, so I'm going to send you to someone else. And to not be offended when somebody asks personal questions like, do you speak Spanish? Or where did you grow up? Right? So I might not give my life story, but I'm going to share like, I could speak Spanglish, sort of. Which reminds me, should I translate this stuff? ¿Qué les digo?
Un resumen.
Sí, un resumen. Que en las otras pláticas estaba compartiendo que hay un poquito de información científica de por qué arte ayuda a uno a desahogarse de las emociones o memorias. Y es porque las memorias los guardamos en diferentes maneras y las memorias de las emociones no están guardadas en el cerebro en una manera en la que lo podemos hablar, que todo el tiempo podemos platicarlo. A veces nomás es el sentimiento y con eso podemos desahogarnos a sacar lo que tenemos guardado con la palabra, poemas, arte, cosas así. Y lo que quería compartir hoy es que el arte también, ¿el arte o la arte? El arte puede ser como una meditación, puede ser como poder hacer, ni sé cómo decirlo, get in your flow state, como entrar en una experiencia que nos sentimos como, que nos sentimos como calmados y enfocados. Eso es, cuando estamos haciendo algo creativo. Discúlpame, me da nervios y no puedo platicar. So go back to that. Art as meditation. When you're first learning mindfulness, which is like, by the way, something that Western psychology has most recently discovered, that many traditions have been doing for ages and ages and ages. They've been meditating and practicing mindfulness as a way of taking care of their mental and emotional health. So when you're first learning it, I think a lot of people think meditation is when you just sit and you say oh, and then you float in the air and you're really peaceful. But it's really not like that. Meditation is really more about being with yourself and what's really happening in the moment. And I think that art is really beautiful for that, because even if you're not making a masterpiece, you can just be with what it feels like to create something. You can just be in that space, and it's a little, it's like a little sacred space that you create, right? You sit down with your paper and whatever it is that you're creating with, if you're outside, if you're inside, if you're writing in a notebook, or if you're drawing in a pad, whatever it is, there's this little ritual space that you create. And you have your little ritual items that you bring with you, right? So here today, this is really amazing. We have a staff, we have our boshkomi and the gopal, but all those other tools become the way that you're connecting with yourself and then with anything and everything from beyond. One thing that I like to think of when I'm painting personally is that it's just me and God, and we're creating something new. I don't have to know what I'm doing. I often feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. And I just let something come out, and then I play with that as it comes, with the mistakes and with what emerges naturally. So that's what I wanted to share today about art and healing, and how you can use that as a tool to really sit down with yourself and to really kind of go beyond what you think of. It's not just arts and crafts, right? It's not just keeping your hands busy, which can be helpful. Sometimes we do need that distraction to kind of snap us out of whatever thought loop that we're in. It can be helpful, but it's more than that. It's about getting into your flow state. It's about getting into a space where you feel like you're connected with yourself and with something beyond yourself. And that's the ways that I think Western science and psychology is catching up with what we all already knew. It's that our creativity is a gift, and that our creativity creates a space for us to connect with ourselves, with our ancestors, and even with each other, because then we're able to, and I'll walk you through a little bit later, we're able to connect with what somebody else has created in a way that can help our own healing. So I also want to give you some official resources here. I think we can get them, can we get them running on the bottom of the screen there? So this event is put on by LA County DMH, Department of Mental Health, and they have a really handy helpline. The number is 800-854-7771. That's 800-854-7771. La línea de ayuda para el Departamento de Salud Mental de Los Ángeles es 800-854-7771. 800-854-7771. That's 24/7. Pueden hablar cuando quiera, y ahí van a estar para dar ayuda. Tienen un access center, so they have mental health referrals and crisis services. So si hay una crisis de salud mental, pueden hablar aquí. Sería mejor hablar a este número de que hablar la policía. side note, it would be better to call this number if there's a mental health emergency. It would be better to call this number than to call the police. I don't know why I didn't think to say that before, but I'm going to say that again. If you have a mental health crisis, if somebody is hurting themselves, wants to kill themselves or somebody else, call this number instead of the police. They are trained to help you during those situations. And then not a lot of people know, but the police department actually has a specified unit of people who are mental health professionals to come out during a crisis. So you don't have to just call the police. I know that that's a really huge concern in our communities right now. And I think it's really important to know that these resources are available. This is 24/7 crisis support. They also have emotional support for people experiencing hardship through COVID. That's from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So también tienen apoyo para ayuda emocional si están pasando por unos momentos de challenges, emotional challenges. Dificultades. That was an easy word. Ni sé por qué se me olvidan. Si están teniendo dificultades emocionales de parte de COVID, tienen una oficina de 9 a 9, 7 días a la semana. They also have veteran and military family member support, and that's also 9 to 9, 7 days a week. And that's for assistance in connecting to resources that are available. También tienen ayuda para familias de veteranos que necesiten recursos. Tienen eso también. Did I say the police part in Spanish? Did I tell them that? Yeah, I think I did. Okay. All right, so that's all I have to share for the moment. I'm excited to come back, though, and walk you through the artwork because it's really beautiful. Thank you so much for being here with Mujeres de Maiz and LA County Department of Mental Health for We Rise LA. Yes.
Celina, gracias. Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. Bienvenidos todos otra vez. Vamos a seguir con la programación. We're going to continue with our programming and our special guest facilitator, performer, all around, good human being, Iris de Anda.
Okay. Whatever. Maybe too much. Just a little bit. Thank you, Lily. Thank you, Celina, for those beautiful words, for giving us those tools and resources that sometimes we don't know are available. So again, thank you, Mujeres de Maiz and We Rise LA. I am a writer and poet and a mother of 3, and I have always used writing as a healing tool. I always say words are our medicine. And, just wanting to share with all of you out there tuning in today, how writing has saved my life, how writing can be used as a tool in healing. It doesn't have to be boring or just like what we were taught in school, but knowing that la palabra es medicina, the word comes from our breath, from our spirit. It's a hiccup. It's that vibrant sound that creates life. And so, over the years, I've been writing since I was a teenager, and I've always used the word as journaling. That's how it started. And so that's what I'm inviting folks to do today, to just start at that space, at that place where you can find yourself, with a pen and a piece of paper. And it doesn't have to be anything more special than that. But you giving yourself those moments or that space to sit down with your thoughts and what's happening within, and then to be able to bring it forth. So a lot of times, we wake up, we're going day to day, and as soon as we're up, we're ready to, what's next? Where are we going with this? And so sometimes we need to take those moments in our lives and have those moments with ourselves where we can connect with our thoughts, because our thoughts are constantly creating our reality, right? Our words are constantly creating what comes next. And so just inviting you all to be mindful of how you speak to yourself. How do we speak to ourselves? How do we speak to the people around us? Knowing that, as the compañera Celina was saying earlier, there is neuroscience that is supporting a lot of these traditions and knowings that our community has carried with them for a long time, and knowing that our body is 70% water.
Masaru Emoto, he's the author of The Hidden Messages of Water, and he talks about the importance of the word, the importance of how we speak to ourselves and others. Again, he did research, and it shows that every time you speak into water, the water is receiving, the molecules are receiving that message, and then it translates into our bodies. Right, we're 70% water, and the way that we speak to ourselves or the way that we speak to others is being taken in. And so just being aware, that words affect the molecular structure of our body. They affect the molecular structure of our brain patterns, the waves, the way that we speak. And so knowing that we can use it to create our existence. I always like to quote Octavia E. Butler, and her words where she would write things down, and at the end she would end it by saying, "So be it, see to it." Meaning, she was again using that palabra, that word, as a medicina. Whether it was her thinking about her writing career or the world that she wanted to see. She did sci-fi writing, and it's a lot of the stuff that we're living now. You all should read The Parable of the Sower and all of those. But again, she knew this. She knew the power of the word. And so I invite you again to always carry that piece of paper, a little journal, that pen. I guess nowadays we can do it on our phones. I personally still like the tactile, like pen to paper. And yeah, there's some paper and pens back there if you all want to take part, because I'm going to walk you through a couple of writing prompts in a bit. But I just wanted to set the stage. So along with Octavia, there's also the words of Erykah Badu. And she says, "Write it down on a real paper with a real pencil and watch shit get real." Right? And so again, that's the invitation of taking that moment to physically, we could think about it, we can speak about it to our friends, we can speak about it to our family, to our therapist, but there really is something special, like Celina said, it's between you and Creator, right? Between you and Spirit. And so the other words that our sister Erykah Badu says is spelling is a spell. And so all of these little incantations, all of these little reminders, right, of the power and the beauty of the word. So moving forward with that, just bringing forth that idea that words can hurt or they can heal us, right? The power of writing, it can come to us as a form of release, as an elixir. It could create a place for us to find that flow, for us to be able to maybe filter out some of those thoughts that come through. And again, knowing that our bodies do hold body memory. I'm also a Reiki master. I work a lot with the energy field and the chakras, and over the years, a lot of my maestras have also taught me the power of what we can do when we tap into those emotions that have been stored in the body. And so knowing that there is stuff that is hidden there that can be worked through with the breath and body work, therapy as well. But I think that writing can also be brought into that form of healing, knowing that we can tap into those places in our minds, maybe uncover hidden things, that maybe things we've never talked about, things that you're scared to say out loud, things that maybe good things as well, right? But that you're still not knowing how to bring forth. And so again, putting that pen to paper is very helpful in bringing that forward. So moving forward, again, like the sister said, there's a lot of our staff here. We have a couple friends maybe in the audience, but for those of you watching from home, I'm going to start off with a writing prompt for you right now. If you have a pen and a paper next to you, or you want to go grab one really quick, we're going to do a process that it's a writing prompt, and it's related to the 7 chakras. Again, the 7 chakras are our energy system. It's the field around our body. You walk into a room and sometimes you can already feel the other person's emotion or like a feeling, and that's already your energy field, your aura, tapping into that unseen force or that unseen field that we carry with us. And so, in life, as things happen, our experiences, whether good or bad, they begin to create these stories in our body, in our minds, in our field. And sometimes the chakras get stuck. So it's a powerful way to tap in to these 7 energy centers and maybe, help release whatever might be living there in the moment and allow it to flow through. Ideally, we would want all the 7 chakras to always be flowing, but every day, every encounter is creating a new energy wave, a new pathway in the body. And so it's helpful to take these moments. And it doesn't have to be very long at all. You could do one at a time. We're going to go through all of them today. But you can also do this exercise and maybe focus on one chakra each day of the week. You can take this and maybe work on one chakra per week. You can, however long you feel that you need to tap into that specific chakra or that story that's coming up for you. And so the idea with this is I'm going to have you all write down the 7 chakras. The first one being the root chakra. It's our grounding chakra. It's red. And right underneath that or next to it, you're going to start off with the words I am. And so this is like a fill in the blank exercise. I am, and you can choose a word or you can write sentences, but I am grounded. I am healthy. Whatever it is that's coming up for you that you've been wanting to check in with yourself about, you use that as the beginning statement and then you fill in the blank. The second one, sacral. So sacral chakra is our second chakra. It's orange. That's our creativity. And the words for that is I feel. So these are like the writing prompts. I feel, and you can say I feel sad. I feel mad. I feel, or whatever it is that may be coming out. And again, it could be one word. You can make it a mantra for yourself for the week, or you can just go in and journal about it and explore what it is that you're feeling. The third one is solar plexus. This is our sun. This is when you walk into a room what people see. And the words that go to along with this chakra are I do. So this is our physical body. All these lower 3 chakras are the physical body. When you're saying I do, you can fill that in with whatever it is you feel needs to be done in your life at the moment. The fourth one is heart. So with heart, the words are I love. And same thing, it could be a one word, fill in the blank, or you go on to explore that a little more. The fifth one would be the throat chakra. And the words to start that prompt off would be I speak. The sixth one is the third eye. And the words that go along with that chakra are I see. This is our place of intuition, our knowing, our dream time. All the chakras that go up above the heart are more on the energetic or ethereal part of the body. And then the last one is the crown, and the words that go along with that are I know. So again, this is a very simple exercise that you can do, and you can sit down and do all 7 at one time. You can divide them up into days of the week. There's 7 days, 7 chakras, or you can take a week, do 7 weeks. Take a week for each chakra until you've worked through all 7. But you'll find that, when you take take the moment and just tapping into those the affirmations of the I am, I feel, I do, I love, I speak, I see, I know, that your body will tell you its own story. Sometimes people are like, oh, I have writer's block, or I don't know what to write about. But just giving yourself that little prompt and that little invitation, you'll be able to tap into some of those words that are wanting to come out. So moving forward, how's everybody feeling? Good? Okay. So then moving forward, another prompt that I like to share that's also very powerful, I feel, for mental well-being and taking back our stories is a somatic change prompt. And what that means is every word has a variety of senses and connotations, which can be added, removed, or altered over time. So often to the extent that it will change across time and space and come to have very different meanings. And so this is a writing writing workshop I like to do a lot with like the youth or with women, especially with our mujeres. And the idea of you choosing a word that you've been called, something that you would like to reclaim, right? So just some examples are bruja. Oh, you're such a bruja. She's such a bruja. She's such a necia. She's a slut. Fill in the blank. Whatever these negative words are, you can take the word and reclaim the word and give it a new meaning, so that it shifts its position in your body, or like the memories that are attached to it, if that makes any sense. And so it's been very powerful to do this with the youth, with young women, because sometimes they don't even know, they're not aware that it's in them, it's in us to be able to shift that story, to shift the narrative. And so, another one would be like chingona. Nowadays, like I think our generation, and I know Mujeres de Maiz does this a lot, you take the word and you like flip it, or you add a little just flair or something to it to like make it yours. And so again, that's the idea behind this writing prompt, which is a semantic change, meaning that you could take any word, anything, or even an experience and write about it and try to shift it in the way that it's being held in your body, the way that memory is being held in your mind and body as well. So, I think it's always easier to do these writing workshops when there's a group, because I like to engage with the audience. Like I would have wanted to take the moment and have you go through, doing the exercise with me, and then I would invite folks to come up and share, because there's power in sharing, right? That's another thing about writing and using writing as healing is it's beautiful to put it down on the page, but it's also very powerful when you're able to stand up and use your voice, that throat chakra, to speak it and to have that connection. You want to? Okay. All right. So do you want to do one of the chakra prompts, or do you want to do the semantic change if you have a word in mind?
Oh, I'll do it. I don't know how to. Well, you're gonna walk me through it. I don't know how to do the semantic change. So yeah.
Okay. Llorona. Okay. So for those of you that can't see, one of our sisters here, Celina, is talking about using the semantic change to flip the meaning of a word. And the word that she says is llorona. So when you think of llorona, like what comes to mind? But so in your body, you're holding it? How is it that you're holding it? Or what connotation? Is it good or bad? Bad. Okay. And so how can you, is there something that you can think of where you can think that crying is actually a good thing, where you could flip the idea that being a llorona is actually a powerful thing? No, it doesn't have to be poetic. because we're not really even trying to write poetry right now. It's just about getting the words. Yes.
So, like, can I imagine it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What would it be?
Oh, I can't talk about it without crying.
Oh, I mean, crying is good.
Release.
Release.
Are you open? Are you open to?
Do you want to? Okay, we're gonna have our sister come up here.
There's another. There's another one.
Oh.
Okay.
Volunteering. All right, so I picked the word llorona, but what I really meant was chillona.
Okay. And so you were saying though that there.
It's like a negative connotation, and to reclaim it, I can't say it without tears in my eyes, y'all. I picked that because I was crying earlier. But it's release. That's how it feels. Like it's powerful is not the right word, but like meaningful. It's meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not just being a crybaby. There's meaning.
Beautiful. You already did it. So now every time that you think, and again, I invite you to journal about it. Journal about Llorona and see what else comes through. But now next time you think of the word Llorona, I can already feel the shift in your body. Like you're going to carry it differently, right?
Yeah, yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. I hope that made sense to everyone out there. So yeah, I think moving forward, I would invite you over the next couple of weeks to play with those two specific prompts. And then also, I guess the last one that I would want to leave you all with is the idea that you don't even have to have a prompt. And if you're feeling that you don't know where to start, even though you have the pen and the paper right there, you pull out a book or pull up a quote or pull up just something. It could be like one little sentence, and use that as the beginning for you to start that flow. The point is for you to use the paper and the pen as the medicine, and it'll come to you. You know, it can be as simple as that. Sometimes music helps as well. But just the idea that knowing and going back to the beginning of saying that the words are the medicine. Hay palabra, hay medicina en la palabra, and that we can use that as another tool in moving forward with our mental health, for our well-being, and then teaching that to our youth. I'm a mother of 3, so I try and give these tools to my little ones as well. And so thank you, Mujeres de Maiz. Thank you, We Rise LA. Thank you, Mercadito, Monarca. I've never been here. I can't wait to go in. And I guess I'll share a poem right now to end this section. And I'm sure that you guys are all waiting to have the virtual walkthrough of the art. So we'll do Niña de Barro. Niña de barrio, niña dormida, cuéntame la vida, niña soñando, niña despierta, espera. 2 y 2 son 4, 4 y 2 son 6. 2 pies, 2 manos, 2 ojos, unos labios. Háblame tu voz, una luz en la noche. Niña mujer, niña herida, muéstrame espirales, tus ojos, un mar adentro. Aliento de todo, niña de la tierra, niña del sol. Infinita, dame una razón porque la necesito. Niña mestiza, una mezcla de energías, no sumisa pero autónoma. Maestra de tu propia vida. Niña cósmica, danzante de las estrellas y navegante de lenguas, niña de barro, mezcla de lágrimas y mezcal, atraviesa mi alma para no pedir más, porque yo no me encuentro en tu huella, niña astral, niña infinita. Gracias.
Here, here's your water. Gracias. Wasn't that nice? Thank you so much. Thank you, Iris. And thank you, everyone who's out there. Remember to write those words and make them your own, right? Transform them. So now we're going to welcome again our artist that was invited here to do this installation mini mural pop up for us. She did an amazing work. So now what we're gonna ask is the Tío Jose Castro to help us move this so that we don't we have to respect the sacreds that he applied here, and I want to make sure that we're not moving something that we're not supposed to. Thank you. We're not supposed to touch. So because we're gonna do a little walkthrough. So we're gonna do a little walkthrough for those of you that are out there in cyber world. Vamos a caminar al espacio que el artista hizo aquí. Y esta vez vamos a traducir un poco en español para que sepan de qué está hablando el artista que puso sus pensamientos en este arte, en este mural, en esta instalación, para que todos disfruten. So we're going to go in to share what the artist. I'm going to take this mic off for here. So we're going to do is walk in the artist in here, so you guys can take a look at the art right here. So we're going to welcome Alfie Ebojo, also known as Alfie Numeric. Yes, okay. So you're going to walk us through, and you're going to talk about the art, and we're going to immerse everyone inside of it. So you're going to bring them into your space, sacred space, and explain what you have.
Okay, what I have here is a woman. She's holding on. So basically, the whole 2020 pandemic. The one thing that I hear, the common theme is that your breath is sacred, right? So when you're sick with COVID, it attacks your lungs. And then talking about the other half of what was happening in 2020, which was like the social justice, George Floyd, he was saying that he can't breathe. So my whole thing was just like protecting your breath, protecting your immune system. But then I wanted to cover her face, with the roses. But as I said earlier, there was something odd about me covering her face when, Asian Americans, Filipinos, API, we're trying to have our voice heard. We're trying to have our space. They're not giving us, our media time. So I decided not to cover her face. So instead, I represented the flowers of spreading love. So that's why a lot of the flowers are just kind of like traveling around. I have these cutouts, so it looks like they're kind of flying around. Earlier, I talked about the bleeding heart doves from the Philippines. They're basically bluebirds with a white chest, but it looks like they have a little prick in their heart, and so it starts bleeding. So like a little thing of red. Instead, my bleeding heart doves has lockets, so it protects like their heart, and it shows value. So that's a lot of what my the bleeding heart doves represent. It's representing love and basically spreading more of that alongside with truth. The cutouts in front are basically the same thing. You have, let's see here. Here, she's meditating. You have the bleeding heart dove in the top. She's holding the eggs. And it's basically nurturing love. And then onto the right of me, you see that they have been hatched. And so now they're ready to, wings spread, they're ready to go. To a head nod to Mercadito, Monarca, I had the monarch butterflies also representing transformation, travel, immigrants. My family's, they're immigrants. In fact, I always bring them around whenever I travel. I bring around my prayer altar. So I have my ancestors here with their pictures. Basically, that's it. It's just basically spreading love and knowing that your breath is sacred.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you're not done yet. You're not done yet. We're not done with you. So real quick summary in Spanish. Está hablando de su instalación, Alfie, Dice que esa es una dedicatoria también para sus ancestros aquí en esta, está enseñando las flores y los pájaros que vienen de su tierra natal, de su familia de los filipinos, de los Philippines. Y es un pájaro que representa el amor cuando ella lo pinta. Y también aquí tiene un altar que puso para sus ancestros aquí. Ella es de descendencia filipina y también está hablando habló acerca del racismo contra los de su raza asiática donde viene ella. Y dice que esto es también un homenaje también para el entendimiento y para también eliminar o educar de la xenofobia. Y también habló de los pájaros que pintó aquí, que están enfrente, que está deteniendo los pájaros, que es el nido. Y eso es el resumen para ella. So, come here. We did that in Spanish. So now I'm going to ask you something that you have told me, but I know you didn't really say it, but what did you get out of it when you had told me something that I'm not going to say it, but you're going to say it, that you got out of it when you were going through the process of art making?
Like I said, this whole process was medicine. The fact that everything, like I thought I was fine through 2020, realizing that, I called it a funk. I mean, I didn't have a counselor to, accessible to me to say what I have. But once my friend said, no, you're grieving, it makes sense because I couldn't do anything else. All I did was basically work and come home and just basically rest. I didn't feel like myself. So what I got out of this process, this was very medicinal for me. Everything that you see here, I didn't know what I was doing. It was on the fly. And there was no projection. I didn't use a grid. Everything here is like completely feeling. So what you see here is my meditation. The product that you see is my process of getting out of that funk. I feel a lot more of myself now. I've been painting more ever since I did this mural. I've been doing like several canvases. So I'm beginning to feel a little bit more of myself. But yeah, there is a connection. There is a connection for social justice and art making and wellness. Everything is all tied together. Nothing, like everything has a meaning. It's like art for not art's sake, but art for the people.
Gracias, thank you. So real quick translation. En resumen, dijo que el proceso para ella fue muy medicinal y se sanó mucho durante los tiempos del COVID y esto le ayudó para pintar más y recordar que ella tiene ese don, ¿no? Porque ella dijo que estaba explicando que ella hizo este mural sin proyección, sin usar otros métodos de hacer murales, que ella nomás lo hizo con sentimiento y emoción, y esto es lo que salió, y esto le ayudó a ella a sanar y también a recordar las injusticias también en este proceso, porque dijo que este proceso de eso también es una culminación, un recordatorio de nuestra sanación que viene de todas formas. Gracias. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for this. So now we're going to ask Celina to come and give our closing. Oh, no, we're going to have two more. We have Celina Jaques coming up again, giving us a brief reflection on this art piece. And then following up from Celina, we're going to introduce you to Mercadito Monarca and the owners of this space. Come on.
Thank you, Lily. Okay, can like the people in the, can we really see this? Can we like zoom in on it? Yeah. So thanks so much for having me back up here. My name is Celina Jaques. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and board certified art therapist. And what I'm really excited about this is that what I had in mind, where's Edie's? We're like this whole time. I'm like, we're like in my head. when she started to share about the chakra writing prompts is actually really close to the art prompt that I wanted to share about interacting with this mural. So I'm gonna see if I can get out of the way here like that so you can see it. All right, so what I've been sharing a little bit about is how to interact with art in a way that is helpful and healing for you, even when it's not your artwork that you're creating. So I talked a little bit before about how art can be meditative, and the artist was just sharing that this creation was her meditation, this creation was her healing, and so she worked through it a little bit the way that I was sharing before about how the process can be really meditative and how we can use just engaging in that creativity to help us get into a space where we can be more grounded and more clear and more present with our own emotions and feelings and move through them in a way that's really helpful. You can also use art and creativity that's not yours. And so I wanted to give you a couple of prompts to, well, it's one prompt to share about this. So I will come stand over here. And so as you're, if you can get a good look at this, or if we can like even have a still of it later that you can like really, really zoom in on it and really focus on it. One thing I always have people do is take a look at the colors first. So first, as you're looking without like taking in all of the content, just looking at the colors and recognizing what those colors mean to you. They might mean something different than they did the first time you saw this and then after you heard about the chakras, there are colors in the chakra system represented here. And so you might be able to look at those and recognize how they relate to where you need healing or release or honoring and strength, according to different colors, right? So there's red from the heart, that's our root chakra, and then there's the orange over here, and there's the purple and the green. I think the only thing we're missing is yellow from the solar plexus, but the way that the sun is shining through right here on your nose, it's a little golden yellow to me. So you just pick out the colors and take a moment to just take that in and recognize how they sit with you. And then one of my favorite art prompts is looking deeply into an artwork and then imagining that you can embody that artwork and that the artwork itself can speak to you. And then imagining what is the message coming through this artwork. And my favorite prompt for this is that the artwork itself says to you, I am the one who. And you finish the rest of that sentence. And you keep going over that over and over and over again, filling up a page or pages of what the artwork is saying to you. I am the one who. I am the one who. And so you can combine that with the art prompt, the writing prompt from earlier. I am the one who, ya se nos olvidó, like I am the one who feels, I am the one who I do, I love, I see. And you can go through that over and over and over again until you run out of things to write. Just recognizing what this artwork itself says to you. And you can zoom in on one part of the artwork that catches your eye. So like perhaps it's this beautiful hummingbird here. And maybe that's who's speaking to you. I am the one who, I am the one who. Or maybe it's one of these butterflies, or the flowers, or her hair. Or maybe it's this beautiful woman represented here, and just listening to what comes forward for you. And I do believe that we receive messages in that way from beyond. This is just the symbol and the space and the way that the message was able to present itself to you, but we have to be quiet enough to hear it. We have to stop, we have to slow down, and we have to honor what's there so that we can see and hear what the message really is. So that's my reflection for today, how to sit with some artwork and meditate with it and allow meaning and message to come forward for you. This is just one way to meditate. I was sharing earlier about we have this idea of what meditation looks like, and it doesn't have to look that way. It can be very active, it can be very engaged. It's all about quieting what we call our monkey mind. Western science will tell us that's actually called your default network. There's a network in your brain that's on like default. That's just what's on all the time in the background. And it's self-referencing. So just like Edie's was sharing with us about how the words can be really powerful, if that default network, if your monkey mind is always talking, I know monkey mind from Buddhist traditions, by the way, that's different than the the Western science default thing. But if that is self-referencing, and so we're always saying, see, like I'm this, or I'm no good, or I can't do this, or things are always hard for me, or whatever it is that we're telling ourselves, that self-referencing loop is going to keep perpetuating itself. And if we can stop for a second and use what Western science would call the salient network, that's a network in your brain, that moves your attention to the executive network. And that's what we're using when we're creating art. That's what we're using when we're in flow state. That's what we're using when we're purposely focusing all of our attention on something meaningful and intentional. So that's what mindfulness is. That's what meditation is. So when you're creating something or sitting with a creation in an intentional way, in a mindful way, and purposely putting all of your focus on that, we're quieting all of that rattle that happens that keeps looping around and around in our mind. And then we're being present enough with what comes up from our hearts, from our ancestors, and from our messages from creativity and creation about what is true and real. And we have to quiet down enough to do that first. So that's my reflection today for our art therapy reflection on Alfie Mumal's beautiful mural. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. And thank you, Celina. She has been a great part of the Sanación Sundays also. So if you haven't seen some of our digital experience, which is part of We Rise LA digital experience, there is an online experience and digital experience, which is also the programming that you can find on our YouTube, that you can find on our Facebook page at Mujeres de Maiz, the We Rise Mujeres de Maiz page also, as well as some saved Instagram IGTVs. And where you can find those, even from a year ago when the pandemic first started, and also for May, you can find Celina's art therapy workshops on our IGTV. So any day, even if it's not Self-Care Sunday or Sanación Sunday or Wellbeing Wednesday, you can find some of those. They're about 45 minutes to an hour. And she'll walk you through kind of similar to what she just did, right? Where maybe you'll make origami and a hummingbird, and she'll talk about the hummingbird and kind of connect to your own mental health and well-being and thoughts and meditation. And art then becomes, again, as it always is, but she helps you to work through and talk about different emotions, feelings, and experiences. So definitely check out her page, which we put on throughout this evening and throughout the live. We put the Instagram information for her, as well as how to find out more about her. Or you can go to mujeresdemaiz.com or our Instagram DMs and ask more information. So we really are thankful to everybody today. We have a full team who makes these Mujeres de Maiz happen over 24 years. Of course, Lily Flor, who has been hosting and helping to talk, has been like really working with all the murals. We have four different, I'm going to take this off for a little bit. We have four directions, 5 different events. This is our 4th event. And we are really excited to have these community pop-ups. So We Rise LA has community pop-ups as well as digital experience, Art Rise, Youth Rise, and a lot of different programs. You can find it at werise.la, which we've also put in this our websites and information in our redes sociales. And so what you can find is that we really decided that community engagement, well-being, art, and expression, expressing our emotions, our feelings, and experiences in general, but also through this time of the pandemic was very key. And one of the ways we decided to do that was to have this event. Lily Flor, really the visionary of the 4 directions, Unidos por la Salud, 4 directions united for health and mental health specifically. So honored to be sponsored and a part of the WeRise.LA experience, digital and online, and the community pop-ups, and also very thankful to Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health, who understands that, and what Celina has been sharing for the last few pop-ups is that we know who our community is. We are a community. We know the art, the expressions, the wellness, our ancestral practices. So supporting the community to do the work that we already are doing and that are usually done out of the corazon and volunteer is really, really important for our own well-being. For our, well, not only just to survive as artists and practitioners of ancestral practices, but also to live and thrive. So in order for us to thrive as a community, especially women of color, communities of color, and trans communities, which are represented through Mujeres de Maiz, it's very key for us to be supported. And so we're thankful to be seen to be heard, right? Through WeRise.LA and LA County Department of Mental Health, who's really realizing so many of our friends, family, community members who are received support to do the work that they've been doing for a long time and that is working in our communities, that people see, that people are transformed, that people are healed. So we know how to do it, and so we're very thankful to support. Another person in the group who knows how to do it is Mercadito Monarca. So first I want to introduce and invite you up here, and then we're going to do a mini tour so that you can get, like, with the lighting and everything really well with the microphone, because when we go in there, we won't have the microphone, I believe. So I wanted to have y'all speak about Mercadito Monarca. So if you can introduce yourselves and share a little bit about what this means to you for well-being overall, for either for yourselves or for the family or for la cultura, por favor.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, and to Mujeres de Maiz and everyone, WeRise, everyone that's here, everyone that helped put this together. It's an honor for us to be a part of it. My name is Erika Gutierrez.
Roberto Villarreal.
And we founded Mercadito Monarca. It's going on 2 years. With the pandemic, I think actually probably like a year that we've actually been able to be operational. And one of the reasons that we did it was because we were raised here in Pasadena in the San Gabriel Valley, and we lacked that connection to our cultura and those experiences in being close to language and our culture. And so we decided to create it. Sorry, can you hear me now? So we decided to create it because we didn't see it representative of who we are, celebrating our culture, our language. It has been for me, a mental well-being journey, because creating a space that's full of love for our people, and it's rooted in our indigenous roots. It's encompassing who we are, and helping and working in community with local artisans, in Mexico, where our family is from. And that's just been really helpful to me. COVID was really also difficult, and I really appreciate hearing Alfie's journey and Edie's and everyone sharing the experience, because it helps when we all share what we went through. And our comunidad, we had only been open 7 months when COVID hit, and we had to shut down, and it was a dream for us. We put everything into it, and we almost closed down. But our community surrounded us and supported us and didn't allow that to happen, and that really uplifted us. And through that, and following our hearts and what our community wanted, also different paths have come. The universe has brought other people and opportunities that show us that we're doing the right thing. Tata Jose here was brought to us too because of Mercadito Monarca and other wonderful relationships and opportunities that we've had because of it. And we want to be here to keep growing in community. And again, we feel really honored that that we're part of this with you all, with Lily Flor, Beth, thank you for thinking of us and for helping us to create a community space for everyone that we recognize. And we hope that that's what it becomes. We look forward to continue to create more workshops and housing more artists that we grow together. I'm sorry, I tend to take over.
You covered everything. My main thing is just, it's allowed us to gather people, like-minded people, like everyone here, and just to gather people and to grow and learn to love. This is what we wanted. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So one of the things that we wanted to do was take a mini tour. I know all of us cannot be in there at a time because you have a certain number and limit, but we are going to take our digital experience into the Mercadito Monarca because we think it's really key to see what's inside there, what community members. So, sorry. We're making sure el fuego, el sagrado fuego está bien. So, we're gonna go into the Monarca, Mercadito Monarca. I really want you all to share some of the things that are key about it, especially the art and expression. So I know all of us cannot go in there, but we'll take the digital experience in there. So some of us, as you can see, our whole digital team, Meno, Celina, Maritza, Lily, Alma, so many who have been a part of today will be checking it out. And we also want to just give thanks and honor again to the Tongva community who opened up in different ways. We had Jessa and Tina Calderon of the family of representing Tongva and Shumash, and also Jose Castro representing in honor of Chief Red Blood of the Tongva Nation also. So always giving thanks to those who came before and the caretakers of this unceded Tongva territory. As Mujeres de Maiz, we honor that, and we honor the ancestors that we're walking on and the land that we are on. One of the things I wanted to mention when we walk in there a little bit is Pasadena. A lot of people think, Pasadena is a very specific, affluent, and white community. But I know, and was surprised, even though I went to school here in junior high, right? I was like the scholarship kid who took 2 hours on the bus just to be the one brown student in the academic student area. But there is a big community of color, Black and brown in Pasadena. And I would love for you to share that a little bit before we go in there on the mic, because oftentimes, even like we were like, ooh, we're in Pasadena or whatever. And we thought of that, but I was like, no, if you think of certain areas and directions of Pasadena, it's, very represented by Black and brown and a lot of monolingual Spanish communities. And we are going to have our last direction in the East, and it's fully monolingual Spanish. Vamos a tener un evento puro en español. El lunes 31 de mayo en Rancho Borín en el este, en un rancho. Entonces, si puedes platicar, you can share a little bit in English.
So thank you for mentioning that, and that's true. I mean, Roberto and I grew up here, and we grew up in that community of, as being first generation here and going through that. We make up as meaning brown, Black, Indigenous folks, probably about 40% of Pasadena. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's a lot, and it's not what's put out there, because that's just what works. But to say it lightly, but it is important that we start raising our voices, and that's part of what our Mercadito in the heart is trying to do, is be this very vivid presence that we are here and that we celebrate our cultura through our perspective, our lens. It's our narrative. We're the ones telling the story. This is who we are. This is how we celebrate who we are. And then being in this space, that growing up here in Pasadena, and some of you are here too from Pasadena can attest to this, but we normally don't come to areas maybe on the south side of the freeway because they're not necessarily for us, which is where we're located. So to us, it's a testament we really belong everywhere here, right? With the permission of our ancestors, of course. But so that's really important to say. So our presence is our existence is resistance and resilience in terms of showing who we are here. So we really appreciate that. Thank you. Queremos decir que aquí en Pasadena, la gente que somos de raíz indígena, mexicana, centroamericana, afroamericana, somos como 40% de la población aquí. Y eso no se sabe mucho porque se concentra mucho como al norte del freeway, donde son las áreas que son de menos recursos. Y nosotros estamos aquí también para representar ese espacio cultural y que esté una presencia viva y fuerte, presente de la celebración de quienes somos. Queremos que las personas que viven aquí, que son creadas aquí, los niños, las siguientes generaciones, vean que se celebra quiénes son ellos. Y por eso estamos aquí. Gracias.
Representation is also well-being, thriving, and resources, funding, resources, support for culture, for mental health, mental well-being is part of what we're talking about as part of well-being and a part of not only surviving as communities of color, but also living and then thriving. So we want to thrive, and one of the places we want to support and help have thrive is our host today, Mercadito Monarca. We're the owners and founders who are here, and we're going to now do our tour for our digital experience for all those who are here publicly and our community pop-up, although we were only, we were very asked to be at max 10 to a few at a time. We do thank you for being here. We thank all of the team. We still have one more pop-up, so check out mujeresdemaiz.com. If you enjoyed today, please share it, please forward it, whether it's through Instagram or through Facebook or YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Let people know about these resources that we have. We have over 2 hours of every pop-up wellness workshops. Yesterday we had Hood Herbalism talking about plants and wellness. We had Onyi Love share some of her spiritual traditions. So lots of information, lots of beautiful conocimiento. So please do share, and thank you all for coming. A little bit at a time when we do the digital experience, you're welcome to come. So thank you so much. We'll do the digital experience.
One more thing,
Yeah.
sorry. I want to also thank our neighbors at Portal. They're close today, but they're also a longtime Pasadena family from Yucatan originally. And they are very supportive, and they, even though they're not here, allowed us to like borrow chairs and use their space. This is their outdoor patio space so that we could be here. And I do want to acknowledge them and thank them publicly. And please, if you're here, if you come out to the Mercadito, do make it like a lunch and dinner date and shopping. We all validate. So there's parking here, but we validate. But they're a community a family that has been here for over 25 years, and they do give back to the community.
And the food is good.
Yes, and Celina said the food is good. It is great drinks, everything. And so, but just to honor them too, and being supportive of our Mercadito, and making sure that we're also supported by someone who has experience in business in Pasadena, being of Mexican descent también. So they've very much been an ally. So thank you to them as well. So gracias.
Thank you. So we'll do the digital experience of WeRise.la. That's again the website. I say .la. WeRise.la, where you'll find over hundreds and hundreds of events every single day throughout May. Our event is up until May 31st. So again, we're live on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope. So please share it with others, and we'll begin our digital experience through the Mercadito Monarca. Thank you so much.
Yay. Okay. For you guys gonna check it out by yourself and then go follow them. Perfect. Follow them. Need you to bring the tablet? Okay, so for those of you that are here, you could come in and experience the installation. You could take pictures and all that good stuff.
We're at to our
Hi guys, welcome. First of all, welcome to our store, and my wife will take you guys through it.
Okay. So what I do want to do,
Welcome to Mercadito Monarca. We've been here 6
you guys
months.
will go inside it.
First, our experience has been
Hi, how are you? I'm
nothing
Ellie.
else, so it's a
Nice to
labor of
meet
love.
you. I'm Ellie.
Everything is in process of just
Yeah.
doing it with love for you all. But what we focus on is trying to
Yes. We're just I want to make sure that we have space and we're gonna
go feature
put this
local
down so we have
artists.
actual.
So right now we have actually this exhibit happening with assistant. Everything here is from a local photographer, a group of local Chicano photographers, and this will be is raising funds for children Spanish speakers in Mexico for a school called the Sidewalk State. So everything. So we like to be able to integrate things that give back as well. And so it's the first time doing some exhibits, so we try to get creative with how we use our space.
Hold on.
Just want to tell you a little bit of what we have, like journals from local artists. The presenters are talking about journaling. These are local artists, CJ's Angels. They're here in Pomona. They do a lot of beautiful artwork, so they have journals from them. And we have other journals that I want to show you that are really special. But we have ropa tradicional.
Can you tell us a little bit? I mean, just maybe 2 to 3 minutes about the whole store, but how like plants or cultural traditions could be bring back like well-being or like connect it
Yes.
or pride,
Thank you,
empowerment?
Sis. You're such a natural at this. You're so good. Thank you for guiding us through that. So, so what we have traditional clothing. We have jewelry, traditional jewelry or gemstone jewelry. We have artwork that reflects cultura, the cultura of the artist, right? Which is ties into indigenous. That's the way we look at it. We have things for Dia de los Muertos, home decor, things made by like our moms, for example. There are also some of the local artisans that we carry. Tambaya, things from Michoacan. My family's from Michoacan, so we try to represent where our family's from. For us, it's been a beautiful experience to bring these things in, see people. We've had artists that bring their moms, their families, and say, "Look, my things are in a store," or my son too also makes things. So it's a family of artisans. But in terms of our well-being, like Celina,
That's perfect.
like taking that time to be
Actually, get them.
so uplifting and our well-being in the way that we're joyful. We're connecting to our cultura. We're seeing people that come in and go, "Oh, my grandfather used to do this for me," or "My grandmother, oh, this reminds me of home." And we've had people actually come in here and cry and say, "Thank you for bringing home to home." So these cultural items like really help connect you to who you are. Like we all feel it naturally. We feel that connection to it. And some generations like have that disconnect with the homeland. Like they don't know anybody that's still there. And so to have a space locally where they can find these items and teach them to their children and try to reinforce and reignite that reconnection
Okay, I think you were good.
is really
Yeah, as
powerful.
the owners, for the owners, take them.
People, the acts of love that people do by coming in here when they buy for their loved ones, like with such emotion to really support, like it's really in their heart to support local businesses, local artists. And so they're spending their money in a really conscious, purposeful way to give someone a special gift that means something to them. And then in the process, they're not only supporting our small businesses, but all small businesses that we work with and partner with. So for our well-being every day, I love being here. Like I'm surrounded by beauty, like all the beautiful energy that these artisans put into their work, and then also the beautiful words and the emotions that people come in with and say, like, wow, like they connect to it, and it just
Maybe
makes
you
them,
know how to turn it on.
that's our mental,
Yeah.
that helps us every day to be uplifted. So, and then we have books too, artists. We'll be featuring other local artists. We're really featuring that BIPOC, local artists, local authors, sorry. It's a small section right now, but something we hope to grow. Yeah, we have Plantitas. This is a local business also that we partner with, Pasadena Root. They're
Yes, I'll get you on the little music. Turn
Turn
it on a little low because they're inside, but go ahead.
like
We're good right now.
president works with us, so they take care of the podcast. And of course, that's something else too, to see people like wanting to have life prepare them, and all the love they put into the selection and like what it brings to them. It's really beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, but thank you all, and we welcome you all to come in and explore and visit. We also hold workshops, and so we're willing to continue to share a space that hopefully just can become something that we all collaborate to build, and hopefully we create a larger space for us here. Yeah.
Thanks again to Mercadito Monarca and to Revive for hosting us, for supporting well-being, cultura, comunidad. Thank you so much for all of the love. And we'll see you next time. Revive.la, Mujeres de Maiz, 4 direcciones, Unidos para la Salud, North direction. Muchas gracias. Signing off.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So much, huh? Yeah. I'm like my phone, like got memory full the other day. I don't know. I gotta stop because my phone. Oh, that too?
I'll do a workshop. I need my art on the wall.